want to thank you for taking your time today and coming to do this interview.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it.
Wonderful. For those people who don't know who you are, could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself and how you came to be commissioner?
Well, I'm Mike Goffena. Obviously, the Goffena name is known in Musselshell County, for better or worse. I tell everybody I have a huge family. You can't get along with any of them, just so you know. So, but I'm a third generation person that's lived here. My grandfather came in 1901 and grubbed sagebrush for $1 an acre at the Arkwright Sheet Company. He came back in 1920s and bought the Arkwright Sheet Company. That's how he started into this. So, and we ended up here when he died in 1962. He had 56 grandchildren. Not bad, huh? But anyhow, to become a commissioner, Nicole Borner and I think Brian Adolph at that time and Tom Berry were in the commissioner's office in 2019, when they raised the taxes 25% on everybody.
Right.
That got everybody's attention, including mine. And I went to the public meeting where they were going to explain this, and Nicole got up, tried to explain how come they had to do this. And one thing that got my attention, she said we had 2 public meetings advertised, and nobody came. Right then I thought, well, I can't say anything because I went to the wrong meeting. I should have went to the 2 before and said something. But she explained that, the county didn't know what money they had. They didn't know where it was. They hadn't done an annual financial report for 4 years, hadn't done an audit for 4 years. And these things are required by law, of course. And the state revenue department told them, you better mill your maximum mills because you do not want to go bankrupt, in the deficit. So that's what they did. And that got everybody's attention real quick. But that got me thinking about being a commissioner, possibly. And then later that year, Tom Berry said he was going to quit. Told me he's going to quit. And he said, why don't you take my place? And I said, well, I'll put my name on the ballot. But of course, then we took Mr. Carlson out of the office because he moved out of his district. So we were down to 1 commissioner, Nicole. So since I was already on the ballot for 2020, they appointed me to that position. Well, it was, you wore your batteries out.
Oh, my little light went off. Okay, we'll just go as is.
Anyway, Nicole was the only one left, and we had to have 2 commissioners. You can't even run a county with 1. You got to have 2 on everything. So I got thrown into that position, and it was a very, I was like from the frying pan into the fire because I didn't know anything. And Nicole had trained herself, and she certainly was mentoring me, which I appreciated. And she had already been through hell with that commission. And she was the one that was straightening the county out. Our auditor said that it hadn't been for Nicole, we probably wouldn't have pulled out of that. We got a good auditor at that time, and he came in with his whole team and audited all the books, what he could find, and what he could do. And it cost us $395,000, but in 9 months he had the books fairly well straightened out. Still a lot of issues, of course. And one of the first things I found out when we got in office was this: we were being fined $170 a day for the last 5 years from the Department of Revenue because we hadn't done an annual financial report or an audit. So that's a lot of money. And they kept putting it off for whatever reason. But anyway, Nicole and I called up the Department of Revenue and negotiated with them. We told them we're on the mend, we're getting a better audit, we're going to have this all straightened out. And they believed us, and they reduced it to $2,000, so we paid it. First step. And then we kept going on it. Now I'm not the best with budgets. I ran a ranch a large ranch, and I did budgets, did banking, did all of that, but I was only one entity. We were talking about different departments with everybody's own budget. And of course, grants and that sort of thing we didn't get on the ranch, you know. So anyway, it was a different situation. So I proceeded, and we kept straightening it out, the budget, and working on it. Of course, Nicole, I was elected in 2020, and Nicole was taken out of office. But in the meantime, I went down, Gary Elias, I went down and recruited Mike Turley to run for commissioner because we wanted somebody from that end of the county. They were always complaining that we didn't pay any attention to the Melstone, Muscle Shell area. So we got him to run, and him being an ex-banker, we thought he'd be, and he agreed to do it foolishly and did it. And then when Nicole got beat by Bob Pancras, now nobody knew Bob Pancras, including me. But he was talked into running for it, and he beat her mostly because they took her out, and so he was replaced. But I'll tell you, Bob turned out to be a very nice person to have in there. I mean, he knows his stuff, and he eats up that budget and those numbers like it's lunch. He just loves it, just loves it. And I learned a long time ago, there's people that do and there's people that let him. So I let him. So, and I told him that. I said, we'll let you just handle that. And we hired Chris Kurt as a CFO. And Darcy and Chris and Bob, I mean, they got this budget beautiful. I mean, we had a clean audit. Last 3 audits have been clean audits. We're on the mend. But I tell you, it took time. And I was glad at the time I was a commissioner. But I got to put, I have to tell you that it was that courthouse. I mean, the people in that courthouse are all professional, and we've got the deadwood out, and I mean, we're working together as a team. I coined the phrase team muscle shell. Now we all use it. We're team muscle shell. Thought about getting t-shirts, but I haven't done it yet. But anyway, I just want to say that it's not me or even the other 2 commissioners. It's the people we work with. They all do their job, and they do it well, and it makes me proud to be with them. So anyway, that's how I got to be a commissioner and how I am a commissioner, and I'm more of a cheerleader. I'm not getting in their way, let's say. So, but Mike and Bob and I work well together. So,
Mike, you probably covered it to some extent, but could you explain what a county commissioner does for those that may not understand this?
Well, a county commissioner's job is something I worked into all right. I mean, I'm still not sure if I'm doing everything right, but we have department head meetings quarterly, and we had one just last week. And that's one thing I really enjoy is to get all the department heads in the one room. We have lunch, and we talk about what we've done, what we want to do, and it's just been so nice to do that. And like I said, I really enjoy all them people, and they seem to enjoy us, so that helps. But they've said, and I guess I believe them, that we're the first 3 commissioners they really want to get along with. But the actual commissioner's job is you got to watch the budget, you got to watch your hires, and you got to listen to your department heads. And we do that. We actually listen. We visit with them. We keep in touch with them. Now, we changed our meeting days from Monday to Friday, and that was because of Mr. Pancras, because he claims he has a full-time job. We've never been able to prove it, but he couldn't work Mondays. When he was running, he could work on a Monday, but his company got a new bid from the Department of Defense, $9 billion bid. They're in Kentucky. They destroy munitions and chemical weapons. Anyway, they required him to be available 10 hours a day the first 4 days of the week. So he came to us and said, I'm going to have to resign. He had only been in office for a month. And I said, no, we're not having another election. We'll accommodate you. And I called all the department heads in. I said, we need to move our meeting day to Friday. Nobody was happy about that because they're so used to Monday. It's been Mondays ever since the county was formed. And I said, I realize that, but we need to accommodate this guy because I think he's going to be good in this position. And they finally got used to it. Now, the road department had a problem. They don't work Fridays. So they weren't going to come in necessarily. So we compromised by Mike Turley and I said that if you need us, we'll come in Monday morning and spend a couple hours. And we do that. Not every Monday, but most Mondays. We come in and we visit with the road department. And the bonus to that is we ride around with Tom and look at roads and discuss roads, see what he's been doing and see what he wants to do. He's never had that before. He's never had commissioners ride with him to go look at roads. And he just likes that. He really likes that. And we get a lot done that way. It's much improvement. And it makes a better rapport with the road department too. So, and I don't know, but it seems to work. And we do that with all our departments. Now, when I got in, one of the things the commissioners were having a little argument with the city of Roundup. Well, I didn't know that. There was hard feelings between the city of Roundup and the commissioner's office. Sandra Jones, who I think is just a great lady. I mean, she knows her stuff. But she wouldn't even come meet with us because of issues. And we had that ARPA money show up, which was another big problem. ARPA and COVID money, what do you do with it? And we think we managed that. But anyway, Sandra said she wanted part of that ARPA money. Well, we didn't really have an ARPA impact, and it had to be ARPA impact. It had to be a project.
Could you explain what ARPA is?
ARPA is American Recovery Protection Act, government money that they handed out for COVID impact, which, like I said, we really didn't have that much impact. It was mostly for the sheriff's department and the ambulance barn and those people, and we had some. I mean, we bought plexiglass and PPPs, and but they gave us like just under $1 million the first shot. Well, what do you do with it? City wanted part of it. They claimed since they pay the sheriff's department part of their budget, they should have part of that money. Well, kind of makes sense. But I told Sandra, I said, if you have a project that's COVID related, we'll give it to you. She only wanted, I think, $32,000 or something. But she didn't have a project. She just wanted the money. So we got in a little spat over that. But eventually I got her to come around, and I met her in a meeting. I got her aside. I said, this is ridiculous, arguing about this. I said, if you really want that money, we'll take it out of some other budget and give it to you. Well, I don't know. I have to talk to my attorney. I said, no, we don't want to talk to our attorneys at all. And what we did is we started going to the city council meetings, which no other commissioner ever did that. So we went to the city council meeting, and we started having conversations. And now we're the best of friends. So
Wonderful.
And we went to Muscle Shoals County, and well, we went to the city. They did have a city, but Millstone actually, we went to their council meetings too, and so we tried to get around. So, but this is what commissioners should be doing: is paying attention.
Right.
And we do that. So.
Yeah, the county's big, and it includes a lot more than just Roundup, doesn't it?
That's right. Which we got to realize. And like I said, Millstone and Muscle Shoals always felt left out. Right. They said, we're not paying any attention to us down here, but we do now. So.
Great. What, maybe you've just answered this, but what part of the county government would you like to see get more attention?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think there's any one department that needs more attention than another, but, you know, like I said, this budget's such a huge thing, and every department has their budget, and of course we have a total county budget also. So that's something that all commissioners should be paying attention to. I mean, it's such a serious thing, and that's what they didn't do for, like I said, 5 years. It was, I call that the dark ages of Muscle Shoals County. So when our auditor came in and was straightening that all out, he said we were the second worst county in Montana. said, really? I said, well, give us a couple months. We'll be first. We're working at it. I said, I want that plaque to put on the wall. The worst county in Montana. He didn't think I was serious, which I don't think I was. But anyway, he's really a nice guy, and he sure helped us straighten things out, but it cost us a lot of money. This guy charges $280 an hour. I mean, just talk to him on the phone is a choke you. But anyway, paying attention to budgets in each department, and that's been the biggest thing to go on. I mean, of course, we just did the final budget 3-4 weeks ago. Finally, time's off on it, so I think that's a big thing.
What do you think is the hardest challenge for your, as a commissioner? What is the hardest challenge for you as commissioner?
Well, the hardest thing that I've had to do is make sure everybody's happy. And we've had some issues. We've had a few things go on. When I first got in, we had to fire one of the persons in the clerk and recorder's office. Our payroll clerk was not doing her job. And that was hard. I mean, but she was not doing her job, so we had to let her go. And we had to bring in another person, which we did, and we have a wonderful person now that knows her job. And she's, I don't know, she got pregnant, though. That's a terrible thing. We're going to lose her for a couple of months. That just thoughtless, I think, just plain thoughtless. So, anyhow, no, that's...
Surely you jest, Mike. Yeah, water is a big concern to everyone in Musselshell County, and we're all looking forward to the new water system. We've had some drought, and then we have people that irrigate from the river, poor water quality. It's one of the most challenging things for most residents of this county and the town of Roundup. How do you see that impacting the county from a fiscal standpoint, the new water system?
I think it's going to be a huge boost around it because one of the issues in this town is the bad water. And you get good water in here. I mean, the property values are obviously going to go up because good water is good water. And everybody complains about the water. So, no, it's going to be a wonderful thing, I think. And if we get, and it will be in, we're getting all new lines in the town now, and that comes from COVID money. So the city got quite a bit. So the government has helped us out a lot there, and we dedicated $275,000 to run the line to Melstone. So running it from your subdivision down to Melstone. And also we dedicated $126,000 to Melstone to improve their water system. Now we had to work on their pump system. They have 2 wells that they run their water out of. And we had to provide money to update those, unfortunately, because they're not going to get that water till 25. So, but they want it. And we tried to do the same thing with Musselshell. But Musselshell has been fighting us on it. We did, like I said, put in new lines for them. But they don't want that water, which Monty just told me here a while back. I'm glad they don't because they don't want to run the line down there. So that's going to be another $400,000 or $500,000, And then we try to get as much government money as we can, of course. And I'll tell you, one of our employees, Justin Russell, DES, fire chief, he is great at getting grants. I mean, and of course we have Teresa Dumont that comes in, and we know about her grant writing ability. She's just great. She turned that whole hospital around, and she does us a lot of good. And we dedicated some money to their little kiosk project because she came to us to see what we could do. And I said, what we need on Main Street is bathrooms. And we're not going to have this kiosk without a bathroom there. So we're working on that. We're going to put in bathrooms because, we have all these things going on in Roundup, 4th of July or whatever.
Can you explain the kiosk real quick for anybody?
Kiosk is a welcoming, it's going to be a little house for welcoming, like, the Roundup.
Welcome. Okay.
Yeah. And it's going to be, they bought the property down there by the old Hoyland Forge, and and they're going to put in a kiosk. But they weren't going to put in a bathroom because it wasn't in the budget. Actually, the budget don't look that good right now because everything's gone up so much. But it's still a project, and we will get it done. But I tell you, having this COVID money has been, that's stress in itself because they have restrictions on everything.
Strings attached, isn't there?
Yes.
To government money.
Yes. Originally, it was sewer and water. That was it, and Wi-Fi. Well, the Wi-Fi is out of our realm, but sewer and water, well, we did as much as we could.
Mm-hmm.
But they eased up on the restrictions, so we can spend at other places. So
I had a person ask me about why Roundup didn't go with a treatment plant for the water rather than doing this water system from Judith Basin. And I know Sandra Jones has spoken to it before, but maybe you could speak on that just a minute if you have any information.
well, a treatment plant would not be very cheap either. You're talking $1 million to have a treatment plant. And you got to get rid of the wastewater. There's a big issue with treatment plants. What do you do with the wastewater? Because this wastewater is salty. It's waste. You can't dump it back in the river. So you end up with lagoons to hold the water, just like we have out here now. So it's got its issues too. And with the government money that's flowing into this new water system coming from Utica, we're actually going to end up quite a bit cheaper. I think a plant would probably cost you a lot more than this water here. It's just a guess. I haven't seen any actual figures on it, but I know I thought about RO for my house. Now I got RO for drinking water, but for a whole house, well, you end up dumping, say, 1,000, 2,000 gallons a day out as wastewater, depending on how much water you use. What do you do with it? You can't put it back in the aquifer. So, see, there's issues with both systems. And that's probably the biggest one, getting rid of that wastewater.
Yeah. The last question I have on the water, and it is my last question, is because of the drought, we've seen the water levels at Deadman's and Martinsdale are pretty low. Has that impacted our irrigators?
Yes, it has. But we lucked out with some rainstorms and cooler weather, and everyone got a pretty good irrigation because of that. At the start of the year, it was not looking good. They were going to limit us to 20% of our basin water. But the flows in the river stayed up till late. So we had decreed water that worked. I had decreed water all the way through almost July, so I didn't have to order any basin water. So, of course, I got an 1898 water right, so it helps. But, we deal with this issue all the time. Low water, high water. But you deal with it. And, you cut back on your irrigation, you just figure on getting a little less yield, and you find a way around it. But buying hay that wasn't very good in the last 2 years. So
yeah, that was tough.
A lot of people cut down on their livestock, which is what you got to do. Some of them liquidated entirely. But it's a business thing.
Yeah.
No one said it was easy. Everybody would do it, that. So.
Well, thank you so very much. And do you have any last words or vision for the future for Musselshell County?
I think it's got a good future. I think we're coming around. We're doing so well on everything. I know that, I worked on this Main Street project. I was interviewed by the Department of Commerce here last week about that. And they're putting out a video on that. I didn't have a lot to add because I haven't been with the Roundup partners. I haven't even been to one of their meetings, but they're doing a lot in this town. And if we can get Main Street straightened out, and I think we can. I took a run at the Weirs building. I sold the ranch, so I had some money, but that Weirs building would be a $2.5 million project, and you're still not guaranteed to make any of it back. But if we have to lose that Weirs building, that's going to be a huge hole in Main Street. So
yeah, that's just been an icon
Oh,
Round
yeah.
up Main Street.
We're looking at 36,000 feet of storage. Golly. Wonderful. But anyway, no, I think Muscle County has a good future because, you know, we got about 400 new residents in this county, and everyone that I've talked to really believes in what we're doing. They want this place to thrive, and I hate to say it, but most of them are all conservatives, so they left the places they left because of them politics. We call them cow people, you know, cows. Yeah, California, Oregon, Washington, and so. But anyway, no, I don't know. I think, and with the employees we have in this county right now, we are doing quite well. Everyone's getting along. Like I said, that department head meeting was very good. I mean, everyone was just happy and smiling. So.
Well, thank you so much.